Welcome back to the Living Room Chat podcast.
Episode 12.
Episode 12.
In this episode, guys, we talk about the legend that is John Motson. We also have a review of Ken Seymour's interesting interview that we saw. What else we got, Matt?
We've got some agency chat talking about how to turn £500 into £150 by investing in Purplebricks. Also talking about Ryan's current stress with a property he has on the market.
We absolutely do. So hopefully you enjoy this episode. This is going to be episode 12 and you guys are legends.
Welcome back to the Living Room Chat podcast, episode 12 now, well into double figures. So you're here with me, Matt, and him, Ryan.
Thank you very much for the intro. So I wanted to start with a topic. I obviously messaged you yesterday. And it's on a sad note, unfortunately, guys. But we won't talk about it for long.
Mate, not another sad note.
But I think we've got to look at it and spin it around as a more inspirational note and what he's given the beautiful game of football.
Yeah.
So the sad news that John Motson, the legendary commentator, passed away yesterday.
Yeah.
77 years old. Relatively good innings, but I think.
I look at that and I think it's not that old.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, if you're in your 90s, I think you've kind of made it a good distance. I think anything less than 80, it's sad.
How did he die?
Old age, I imagine, mate. Oh, I don't know. I didn't.
Yeah, I didn't see. I read an article about it. I didn't see any cause, but
no.
I mean, yeah.
But the thing is, you get to the we've all got old people that we know, grandparents, whatever it may be, and they get to a certain age, and a little illness can just catch them.
Yeah.
And you always hear after a short bout of illness passed away. He could have been ill for like a few weeks and then dies. Like, your body just can't cope with it. But anyway, I don't want to get onto that. It's extremely sad, and we've all got memories of him commentating on Match of the Day or the England games. So what I did is actually looked at I just googled John Motson's best commentary and what it meant to me. And there's two things that really kind of jumped out straight away. And if it's okay, we'll put the clips on the screen. But the David Beckham goal against Greece.
Saw that, yeah, 2001.
Yeah. One of the best, obviously, England goals ever to get us to was it for the World Cup, wasn't it? A World Cup qualification. And we had to draw against Greece and we were losing 2-1. It was 93rd minute. And John Motson, and watching two clips, and I'll talk about the other one in a second, he has the same catchphrase. He's done it!
He's done it! David Beckham! Fantastic! It's 2-2!
So the David Beckham one was one that jumps out straight away. Do you remember? I mean, I was 11 years old. You would have been like 9.
Yeah, I do remember it.
But yeah, what was interesting is watching. Even though he's obviously hasn't, I don't think he's been commentating for a few years now. After he must have, I don't know. He might have been doing it recently.
What I realised watching the video back is how a commentator, I didn't know what he looked like, but how his voice has just been there for so long.
Yeah.
Now, one of the clips I saw was from 1972 when he started commentating.
And he sounds exactly the same.
And I was like, wow, even people who are older than us, they've just heard that voice.
Do you think, and it was an interesting tangent, but do you think like the old way of English commentators, there was a certain stereotype and the way they spoke, like John Motson, even though he was recent, watching that clip of David Beckham, that was 20 years ago, but he sounded really like old English. They're like olden days English.
Yeah, I know what you mean, like an old.
Whereas
old
now you've got people like Jamie Carragher and like Gary Neville and people who don't understand what they're saying.
Yeah, but and then
like different accents. Whereas it used to be like very well spoken English as commentators.
It's a different new generation, I suppose, isn't
it? Absolutely. The other clip I saw, which really has fond memories for me as an Arsenal fan, is he commentated on Thierry Henry's when Thierry Henry left, went to Barcelona, then went to America. He came back on loan to Arsenal for a 6-week period, and he came off the bench against Leeds in the FA Cup to make his second debut, and he scored within 2 minutes. And John Motson was commentating on that game as well. He was
something like 2011, 2012.
Must have been, it must have been that sort of. No, it would have been more. Yeah, it must have been 2011, 2012, about 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And exactly the same. Henry, he's done it. So
the article I read just said how he always got the sentiment right. He always got the mood right.
Yeah.
And I thought that was an interesting comment. But I suppose as a commentator, it's not just about the game, but it's about the events of the game. You have the minute silences quite often, all of this, and he always got it right.
It's a lot to be a commentator for a sport because,
Yeah.
like, I watch football and obviously we have our views on it, of course, but actually commentating on the game, like a voiceover is different, but actually commentating live,
Knowing all the players' names.
all players' names, the notes you got, when to put facts in, when to speed up, when to take a step back and not say anything. Tough gig.
Yeah, it's a skill.
It is a skill, it's an art.
They said in the World Cup, all the Romanian players bleached their hair blonde, and he still knew all of their names.
Yeah,
yeah, amazing.
Awesome.
But yeah, sad, but
that is life, isn't it? Unfortunately, and there's obviously the big names that pass away all the time, but we obviously talked about Chester and Lincoln Park last
more
episode.
death for the next few
maybe
episodes.
we'll leave death for a couple of episodes, but I think just on that final point, he had a massive impact on the way we watch football. Like, he's iconic. So I think although we're only a small podcast at the moment, I don't think we'd be doing our duty if we didn't pay our respects to a great man for
fair play.
for UK, the world, and football, in that order.
R.I.P. John
There we
Motson.
go. Lovely.
Next up.
Segue, keeping on football. Did you see the wonderful Ken Seamer's interview, the Watford striker?
Only because you told me about it, and so I watched it.
Mate, we spoke about that. You're supposed to act like you did watch it before, not that I showed you 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, I definitely saw that. Yeah,
Cool.
independently.
Cut that out. Start again. Matt, did you see the wonderful Ken Seamer interview, the striker from Watford?
Yeah, saw that.
Amazing. So we'll put a little clip on. Oh, by the way, put John Motson clip on of Henry or Beckham. You choose.
Yeah, I'll find the clips.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Do the Ken Seamer interview as well. I watched this, and there's been a lot of talk about it, about people coming out saying, well done for him. Because for those who haven't seen it, Ken Seamer has a stutter, and a speech impediment, and it's quite noticeable when you watch it. And it got me thinking, because I've never seen I can remember any professional sportsman come out. They always send the best speaker out, the captain or the manager. No one comes out
That's true.
with an issue, not that it's an issue at all, and that's the whole point of it. It's amazing that he's had the courage, because I know it must be quite difficult. I used to talk with a little bit of even when I started videoing, a little bit of a lisp. I didn't talk or clearly articulate my words.
Well, I only see now watching videos back that we record. I'm like, I should change how I speak like that, and I should tweak that. But yeah, good on him. I think good on him. For me, it's not that deep. I know I've met people with a stutter. It's like, you got a stutter. He's obviously competent in football, and when he talks and he doesn't stutter, it just sounds normal. I think that's the thing about a stutter, isn't it? Is it sort of can catch people off guard, because you can talk normally and then stutter, and people are like, oh.
What I loved about it, and what I like about it, is the fact that anyone who has got a stutter or a speech impediment and maybe feels subconsciously a bit, what's the word I'm looking for?
A bit self-conscious.
Yeah, exactly that. And doesn't really want to put themselves out there because of that reason, because they're worried about what people are thinking of him. Ken Seamer gets up there and they're like, well, he's on a massive stage doing that. And he hopefully can give more confidence to people that there's no reason for them not to be confident.
I think that's the thing, isn't it? You hear a lot about role models in the media, but that's a good example of not just being a footballer, but having something like a stutter and actually getting out there in the world, and anyone who looks at that will be able to kind of associate with it, and it just normalises it.
I agree.
So good on him.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, have you got anything you wanted to talk about? I've got a couple more things, but we obviously they're the two quick intro topics.
Yeah. So football. I've got agency chat, kind of agency chat, business/agency chat. I want to talk about the online estate agent of a purple nature.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know if we'll say the name. Do we say the name?
Fuck it. Purplebricks.
So they've been in the news or in the press again recently. They've made losses again of about £20 million, and the company's up for sale or open to a takeover bid. It's a place I've worked before. I know it's somewhere you've worked before. Mm-hmm. What a shit show.
Yeah, couldn't agree more.
What an absolute shit show.
I think, I don't know if you hear this with avocado, because a lot of people say, are you similar to Purplebricks or similar to online agents?
Oh, really? No one's ever...
Oh, really?
Someone's
I've had-
referred to us as an online agent before.
Yeah, and I say absolutely categorically not. So what you've got is you've got your old school high street estate agents that do their thing, and there's a place for them in this world. You've then got the likes of the online agents, Strike, Purplebricks, Yopa, whoever you want to look at. There's those, and we are in the middle as a hybrid agent where you've got the best of both worlds. You've got experienced staff charging the same fees as normal, if not more. Experienced people working within the business, but no high street office. That's all it is. That's the only difference. We just do better marketing, better communication.
The pointless high street office, which actually has no benefit.
Absolutely.
And
But
I'm annoyed at Purplebricks for failing to make a success of that business.
Yeah.
Because as you know, I got into business 5 years ago in 2018, and I looked at the other brands around me and I thought, oh, Purplebricks, this is good, an online agent. I can't believe no one's done this sooner.
Yeah.
I can see why that would work. And it's just watching the journey of a business just completely going into what it is now and failing miserably.
It's funny though, and we'll talk about this in a lot more detail. So when I joined Purplebricks, it was a very, very different outfit with a lot of potential to be a very successful business. I wholeheartedly believed in the offering. So I was within the first 100 local property experts within the country.
Oh, okay, wow.
I was very early.
Was that 2016?
2015 I joined.
Oh, wow.
November 2015 I joined. So I know Kenny Brew. I've got Kenny and Michael's numbers in my phone. I've been out for dinner with Kenny. I've been to his house. Like, I know them. Like, obviously, multi-millionaires, very, very successful guys, and that's the kind of allegiance I want to go. But I was very early on. I knew everyone. Like the head of recruitment did our training. You know, when we went to the head office, there was like 20 people there. They hadn't even set up the call centre when I started.
Okay, so you really saw
early on
the early days, yeah.
And it had very similar traits to Avocado. Family-run business, bringing good people in, understand what they're doing, offering a service at a competitive price, and that's the difference.
Yeah.
But clearly, they expanded so quickly, and it just grew out of hand. And obviously, they launched in the stock market within 2 or 3 years, I think it was.
I think 2016.
Yeah, I had quite a lot of shares when that launched.
Have you sold them?
No, you have to. So they give you share options if you've been there for a year.
Ah, okay.
And I'd been there for a year when it launched on the stock market, and I think I had £20,000, 20,000 shares or something like that.
Yeah.
25,000 shares, which were issued to me at the time at like £2 a share, and obviously got up to £5. So basically, I had like 75 grand.
Yeah.
But you couldn't take them out for 5 years.
Right. Yeah.
So I would have only just been able to take them out now if I'd stayed there, and obviously they're worth fucking nothing now.
Well, I also bought some Purplebricks shares.
Yeah.
When I was working there, and I obviously saw the transition from being a self-employed business to being an employed business.
Yeah.
I bought some shares because I thought the share price is down.
Yeah.
They've got a bunch of cash in a bank. I've been around the business and the people.
Yeah. I
thought there's a greater chance of this being turned around than it getting fucked up. And I couldn't have been more wrong.
Yeah, yeah.
So I bought my shares at 24p. I turned 500 quid into 150 quid now.
It does make
me not a lot of money.
Profit, isn't it? Makes me look back though at the time when Michael and Kenny were running the show and the team they had around them, and obviously the guy that we work with, local to Reading, like just genuinely good people. But the thing is, I don't know. I wasn't in the company when they left. But the backstory of whether they were forced out or they were asked to leave or they were just like, right, our time's up, we made our money. I don't believe knowing, not saying like I know him personally, but I've spent time with them. As I've been to dinner with Kenny, like 6 of us, like spoke to him a lot. And he never struck me as that person that would just turn his back and run to the hills with the money.
No.
But he's a very, very good businessman and they've done it before. And they tried it again with Boomin, obviously, and maybe didn't work out this time round. But
I think for them, if you've made that much money, you know, do you give a shit? I mean, I agree. Everything I've heard about them aligns to what you're saying.
Yeah.
Is that they wouldn't just be like, oh, fuck it, we got the money.
Yeah.
I suppose that's the nature of like corporate businesses.
Yeah.
Because my experience of being there is, I always think they must know best. They're a big business with a fancy office. What do I know? I'm just a guy. But it's interesting because I've watched the journey of going downhill. For example, I got told off by people high up in Purplebricks for posting certain stuff on social media. Not told off, just told to take it down.
Yeah.
They started a TikTok account while I was there. You know, I've looked at it now, and that TikTok account's just been left abandoned. They're missing opportunities, and they've got a big marketing team. They've obviously got a big social media budget, because I see the Facebook ads all the time.
Yeah.
I just think it's such a shame they've been able to fuck it up.
I think the problem they had is, as I said, it expanded too quickly. They've got too many shit agents on there. Like too many.
They do now.
No, but they did before as well. Like people that were coming in the business, I'm thinking, well, yeah, that's fine. But then the thing is, you don't know, because someone getting a bad name up north in Derby doesn't necessarily affect someone down south. But at the same time, you're only as good as the person next to you. If the guy next to you is an absolute tool, it's going to affect your business. And that's why I think a lot of those wouldn't get into a self-employed model. They maybe would with some of the other ones, but maybe not with Avocado, because they sit like the guys are very selective about who they bring into the business.
Sure.
About having good people and being as good as a person next to you.
Yeah.
So, but there's obviously a market there. It's a very similar business model. Like if you look at the outline above Purplebricks and you look at Avocado, or let's take another self-employed model, it is a very similar like business. I.e., we were self-employed with Purplebricks. I was.
Yeah.
So it on the outside looking in, it does look very similar, but there's so many categorical differences that you can't support a living. You can't run a successful business charging £1,000. You can't do it.
Well, that's why they're now £3,000, which means it's no longer cheap.
Yeah.
And when I joined, I thought that the way the business was set up, i.e. the agents being self-employed, I thought, oh, that's Purplebricks being forward-thinking. Mm-hmm. They understand that self-employed agents are the future.
Yeah.
They can reduce costs because of the online offering. I was like, they get it.
Yeah.
Because people are being self-employed. So when they made everyone employed,
that's it.
And I remember very vividly the now CEO, everyone was called down to Bristol for a meeting.
Yeah.
An emergency meeting.
Yeah.
And just sat in a conference room, have your tea, have your biscuits, sit down and listen to us. All right, we're changing the business model as of 2 weeks' time. If you want to stay with us, great. If you don't, we wish you all the best.
Wow.
The way she spoke, I was just like, you're a dick.
Really?
You're a dick. You have no idea about agency and what's happening on the ground. You're looking at this from a bird's eye view, looking at your spreadsheets, looking at your KPIs. You do not understand. And since then, she's become the CEO and is now in the middle of all this.
And you saw when she spoke to you in that meeting, what would that have been, 2019?
Yes, I was 6 months into being self-employed.
Yeah.
And it had leaked a day earlier, and someone sent me an article saying all Purplebricks agents to be made employed. And it was someone who runs an agency business. And I said, oh, no, that's not true.
We were known about it, yeah.
Yeah, that's not true. If that happens, I'll come and work for you. The next day, I'm down in Bristol getting this, getting spoken to.
Spoken to like a fucking piece of shit on a shoe who has no idea what she's talking about, and now she runs the company, and that's probably why they're in such a shit position.
It was very corporate, and it was very... there was no reason... There was queries as to like whether this was forced by HMRC or whether this was a company decision.
But they never told you?
No, they're just like, this is a strategic decision we've been thinking about for a long time, but we're actioning this in 2 weeks.
It is amazing. Like, bear in mind that I was there for a year and a half from end of 2015 to mid 2017. And then you joined, what year?
21.
21.
Yeah, March,
you were there for
February 21.
How long were you there? 9 months, 10 months?
For 12 months. Yeah,
12 months, okay. So from me joining and to you joining 5 years later, 6 years later, the transition of that company from a small startup revolutionising the market company, core values, family traits, beautiful thing to be a part of, to a corporate slog of a machine within 6 years. Like, no wonder they're so fucked.
It's so true when you put it like that. It's just
Running before you can walk is like everything that stinks of.
And looking back, actually, even the Christmas party was too lavish for a business which wasn't as successful.
Yeah.
It's just, I'm looking back now with like, as being a business owner now, thinking like, should not have been spending so much money on a fucking Christmas party.
Yeah. Well, it's trying to get morale up, isn't it? But they clearly just mistreated the staff, got wrong people in. The good people that made that company a success to start with, and it was success. I had some good months with Purplebricks.
Same.
Like I listed.
Yeah,
I remember one month in, I think early 2016. I think I listed 18, sold 15 properties, something like that. Mm-hmm. And when you're getting paid, like I was paid like probably about 300 quid per instruction.
Yeah.
Like you're making 4.5, 5 grand. That's fine. But now the beauty of what we do now is we can give us such a better service, because to make 4 or 5 grand, I need to sell 2 houses.
Exactly, it's completely different. And I look back, and when I was self-employed at Purplebricks, as you say, making £300 for a house or £500 if you're doing the viewings, I gave my clients such good value for money looking back.
Yeah.
Because people might look at me from the outside and be like, oh, he worked for Purplebricks is shit,
Yeah.
he must be shit.
It's
My
not.
clients did amazing out of me,
Yeah.
because I was still doing the WhatsApp groups,
Yeah.
still doing the video marketing,
Yeah.
but they're only
doing
paying
everything you needed to do, and they're paying a fucking 1,500 quid, 2 grand, whatever.
So I'll never be that cheap again.
No, you don't need. I mean, you don't need to be. That's the thing about it now. But that's exactly the point, isn't it? If you had a good Purplebricks agent, you can never say a bad word about them. Use them; they're amazing.
Yeah.
1,500 quid, you get a personal agent. They do everything for you, and you get moved and save yourself thousands of pounds. Everyone will be like, "Cool, no brainer." You get a shit agent. You never. I got to the point when just before I was about to leave. Because I just couldn't deal with the stress, and I hadn't paid my tax, and it was a lot. It was a very dark time in my life in 2017, because I didn't have an accountant. I thought I could do it myself.
Yeah.
Just fucked everything. Had bucking bailiffs at the door and stuff. It was shit time, mate.
Yeah.
Milo was 18 months old. Lauren wasn't working. It was a horrible time for me. Like really, like the lowest I've ever been.
Fine.
And the point I was going to make there is just like, actually having the support network, but I got to the point where I didn't have time. I had to make money. I didn't even tell people about the viewing service. Like I'd sign people up and they'd be like, "Oh, I heard you do a viewing service." I was like, "Yeah, we don't offer that anymore."
Yeah. I shouldn't be laughing because that's terrible.
So I was like, "Look, this is how you do a viewing. Okay. Any questions? Give me a shout. Good luck. I'll keep in touch with you every 2 weeks." That is how I did it.
Yeah.
And then I got to the point where I had 32 properties on the market at one point.
Yeah.
But I know how much harder I work at the moment with just 10 properties on the market. So I'm 30. It was dreadful.
I found that towards the end, the way when everyone became employed, and they made the targets as such, they were just stupid.
Yeah.
So
unachievable, basically.
Yeah. So the whole business just overnight just turned to like, right, you need to double your output, and now you're employed. So.
Yeah,
it's just all KPIs and stuff. It's
So, obviously, I think we touched on this. Did we talk about Vince becoming sales director?
Yeah.
A couple of weeks ago in one of the podcasts. Was that what you spoke to?
Yeah, we spoke about it.
Yeah. Do you reckon he'd be gone soon?
Probably. I mean, the churn of the C-level staff is just so high, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's just ridiculous.
because they must walk in, get sold this dream, walk in and just unravel stuff and go, "Fuck, this ain't worth my time, stress, mental capacity."
And no one's really thinking about it on the ground as well. I think there's also a difference I've noticed with clients. I don't know if you found this, but a client paying up front, there was almost a sort of idea of like, I've paid you, so you owe me.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like a kind of like, you will do this because I've paid.
Yeah.
Whereas now it's like we do 100% of the work in advance.
Yeah.
And just the dynamic is much better, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
Whereas some clients, for example, there are flats which can go on the market and don't sell.
Mm-hmm.
If you've paid Purplebricks, you're going to blame Purplebricks and not the market.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas if you haven't paid your agent, it's just different, isn't it? So 80% of my clients would be fine, but if the client had a flat which wasn't selling and they'd paid 1,500 quid or 2 grand, that's
Yeah.
That's a bad position.
Or
to
they
be in.
defer the payment and 10 months comes around and they're like, right, I need to pay £2,000, but I didn't sell. Yeah. Oh, the agent didn't tell me. I was like,
Yeah.
I always made that. I literally from day one used to email people as soon as they instructed with a deferred payment. Like, just to let you know, when you sell, you need to use our solicitors.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't sell, you will have to pay at month 10. Just to make it, oh, yeah, no problem at all, right? As soon as they ever came back, I'll be like, pooh, find the email, pooh. And it's horrible that you have to cover yourself, but obviously it's human nature, isn't it? And if it didn't sell, you'd understand why they'd be pissed off.
Yeah.
Because they would sold a dream, and sometimes it doesn't. I've had a client recently where I haven't been able to sell the house for them, and it's embarrassing for me.
Yeah.
But they've lost 2 months. I haven't charged them anything.
Yeah.
I've given them the best possible service I could do. I've done incredible video marketing, everything, and it hasn't worked out.
Yeah.
Fine. We move on.
But so then if they'd have paid you £2,000 up front and you weren't giving that back, it's a different scenario.
Different story, isn't it? Yeah, different story. There we go.
Interesting.
So I got a bit agency chat as well. Obviously, I've talked to you about it, and it caused me a little bit of stress recently. And it's probably, I think, one of the things about being a self-employed agent is it is just you, and you should be able to manage your time correctly. But people feel like you're owing them something. So I put a house on the market this week. It is under market value because of the work that's needed, and the whole idea is it has to sell this weekend because the lady needs her money out ASAP.
Yeah.
I've had 67 inquiries on this particular property. I've booked over 30 viewings. I've got so many people calling me. I can't do any other business because I have to deal with those calls.
Yeah.
And it's got to the point now where it's almost like, wow, this is too much. Like, it's just too much to do. So I'm actually taking the property offline today to stop inquiries coming in because I've already booked 30 viewings and it's going to sell.
That goes to show, though, a property on the market at an attractive price will literally have your phone ringing off the hook to the point where you have to stop your business.
Literally.
Let that be a lesson to people who are thinking of going on the market.
Yeah.
Price it attractively and everybody will want to come and see you.
Absolutely.
You are going to sell that above asking price.
It'd be sold already. It's no problem at all. I've got 15 viewings there this afternoon. I've got 18 viewings there on Sunday. So that's cool. It's going to sell. And I'll probably book more in. After we finish this, my next appointment's not till 12. I'm going to crack on and call as many people as I can in half an hour, book more viewings in. But it's funny how people call up and again, it's different with estate agents because we understand the process, but it sometimes amuses me when people think they're in a good position in the nicest possible way and they try and sell you that position, where actually all I want is someone who, like I had someone phone up and say, hey, I've owned lots of properties and got a 25% deposit, going to get a buy-to-let mortgage on it, and I can complete tomorrow. Cool, thanks mate. So firstly, you can't get a buy-to-let mortgage on it because of the condition. Well, who said that? I was like, I've had a surveyor go round and value it for me in preparation. It can't be let. He's like, tell me why I can't get a buy-to-let mortgage on it. I was like, look, I don't need to answer to you. I'm trying to help you here, but I'll tell you just for the benefit of this conversation. Mortgage lenders are very tight at the moment and they only let on buy-to-let if they can let it from day one. This is not lettable from day one. So therefore, the surveyor will value it at zero and mortgage will be declined. Yeah, but they do affordability checks. Okay, cool. So if you've done loads of properties before, you know as a buy-to-let investor that the affordability is done on the rental income, not what you earn. So, cool. Are we okay with this? Do you want me to put you in touch with someone who can do bridging finance? I'm not paying for bridging finance. Fees too high. Cool. You're not buying this house then. Unless you've got 300 grand cash, you ain't buying it. But it's funny how people dictate to us, like they think we're just estate agents that don't know stuff. Like we know everything about the process, and it's quite amusing.
It's so important though, isn't it? Especially with a house like that, to manage expectations. Yeah. And it's kind of your job to call the shots and be like, no, this is when I'm doing viewings. This is who I'm showing around.
You heard the call I had before we started this podcast, and the guy's like, can you meet me there in 10 minutes?
Yeah.
And I was like, absolutely fucking not. I'll be there at 1:15 till 2:45. He's like, can you meet me at 3:00? No, I've just said I'll be there till 2:45. Cool. Let's book you in for Sunday.
I know a lot of people say, estate agents have a bad reputation, but also the public are fucking idiots sometimes.
And rude. Like,
yeah, horrible.
I had, again, and I'm not playing, boo-hoo, Ryan, he's going to sell a house and make loads of money. I'm not playing that card. Like, please don't think I'm being a dick about this. But someone phoned me. Someone inquired at. It was about 11 o'clock on Tuesday night. I went on the market Tuesday. Inquired 11 o'clock Tuesday night. They called me at 9 o'clock in the morning. Cool. I was busy in appointments. They then called the switchboard and tried getting another call in, and then sent another 3 inquiries. I then called them at 1 o'clock in the afternoon because I'd had, and I'm no joke, I'd had 30 inquiries in 12 hours, and I'm calling through in chronological order.
Yeah.
And because I kept saying another request for it, kept putting them back to the top. So I called them at 1 o'clock, like less than 12 hours after they sent the initial inquiry, and they said, "Oh, finally." That is how they started the call.
So rude.
And I said, "Okay, cool. Respectfully, would you like me to give you a bit of background on the property?" And they said, "Well, you can now. You've called me," and something like that. And it got my back up straight away. But I was cool about it.
It goes to show. I always say when someone sees a property on Rightmove for the first time, there's some kind of emotional reaction.
That's my house.
That they look at the floor plan, they look at the pictures, and they start to build up this image in their head of them and that property.
Yeah.
And it's so interesting how the price can make such a big difference as to how people build that story.
Yeah.
So then they'll make that inquiry, they'll want to view it immediately.
Yeah. And I totally understand that. And I honestly, it's what's caused the issues for me. And I've had a little bit of a wobble, as you do as business owners. And again, you don't see this side of us. We always see us smiling and happy on camera, but you do have wobbles on days. Because
most days, mate.
Yeah, Wednesday afternoon, honestly, and we had a bit of personal news with Lauren, which I won't go into, but that was a bit of a gut wrencher as well. And then to have these people chasing me and giving me shit, I was still calling people at 7 o'clock and half 7. I was still calling people. Hadn't had dinner. I've been working all day, and again, boo-hoo, Ryan, that's your job. It got too much. I was like, fuck, I don't know what to do. Like, I can't deal with this.
So that house is going to sell over the asking price.
Yeah.
I'm going to make a guess you're going to sell that for... Can we talk about specific prices?
Yeah, I've said to everyone what I think.
I think you're going to sell that for somewhere around 340, 345.
That's a very interesting point. I've told everyone, like, realistically, 325.
I reckon you get more than that. But I think you'll get a better offer for less money.
Yeah, and that's the one we're going to go for.
Yeah.
Because I've made this mistake before. So yesterday I completed on a house in Calcott, Pemberton Gardens. And I remember when it went on the market in July last year, it's taken a while to go through, another story for another day. But I had an open house, Lauren and I did an open house, and we have 25 people booked in. And I said that, it was on for 325, and I was telling everyone it's going to go over asking price, get your offers in straight away. Did open house with 25 viewings, guess how many offers I got? 0.
I remember you saying.
Yeah. And I remember on the Monday morning, I said to Lauren, like, how the fuck has that happened? And I knew it's just the way we pitched it incorrectly. So we did an open house the following Saturday with another 10 people, and we changed the dynamic. And I said, great first time buyer, have a look round, let me know what your thoughts are. Any questions, give me a shout. No problem at all. Like, take your time. 10 viewings, guess how many offers I got? 6.
Oh, wow. Just from being less aggressive with...
yeah, because I was putting people off indirectly because I knew it was going to sell.
Yeah.
And I was trying to I wasn't trying to force the price, I was just being honest.
Yeah.
And I'm a little worried that I've done the same with Derwent, because I've told everyone categorically it needs 50 grand's worth of work. I've told everyone about the interest levels. But I know at the viewings I'm going to be very different because I've learnt from that.
Yeah,
Today,
sure.
I've got 2 people every 15 minutes. And I said you can have as much time as you want to look round. No problem at all. I will give you my time for 5 or 10 minutes, and then you look round as much as you need. I'm not going to push anyone. I'm going to say, do your numbers. Let me know what you think. Let's go from there.
Because with a house like that, you need security the buyer's going to proceed. Security, because if someone does a survey on that house, they're going to find a bunch of stuff, aren't they? Do you know what I mean?
What I'm going to do is I'm going to say to everyone, like, my ideal buyer for that is an investment buyer who's got bridging finance and can put me in touch with their broker straight away with bridging finance already agreed, or is a cash buyer and has proof of cash that wants to exchange and complete within 8 weeks.
Yeah.
And signs up for a buyer reservation agreement.
Yeah.
We'll put it in agreement. The survey is here. We know there's issues. Like, unless it comes back with subsidence and it's falling down, you can't pull out.
Yeah.
And I'm going to put up the 300 quid for the seller side.
Fair.
That's probably what I'm going to do.
Yeah, that's the way to do it.
But I know I'll get an offer at probably 315, 320 from that perfect buyer.
Yeah.
I also know there's going to be a residential buyer with a 10% deposit who's going to offer 375.
Yeah.
And I'm going to have to say to the sellers, like, it's 315, and she needs the money, 315 or 375. And my advice is 315 because I know that first time buyer is going to have a survey and they're going to withdraw or they're going to pull out. It's going to take too long.
Yeah, it's so true. Because I was just thinking a bunch of agents would have put that up for 375. And rather than 60 inquiries, you'd have got
The thing is, in good condition, it's worth 450.
Yeah, for sure.
But I've been 50 grand is with everything that I think I would spend on it. But I don't know about that flat roof, and that could be 25 grand.
Yeah, there's a lot of unknowns.
The loft's got an unofficial loft conversion. Fuck knows what that's up like that. That could be another 20 grand. Like, you could easily spend 150 grand on that house.
I've got a house at the moment that needs fixing up, and everyone, some people say it needs 20 spending, other people say it needs 100 spending.
Yeah.
And it's you can't really answer it.
But I've been really tactful with this one. As I said, I've had the surveyor go round, so I've look at the property, so I've got that information there. I've had people quote from my networking group how much the boiler's going to be, electrics, windows, everything. So I know my numbers are 50 grand.
Yeah.
And I can categorically tell people that. So if they say it needs 100 grand's worth of work, I was like, well, yeah, if you upgrade and do some better, of course it's going to be more money. But I don't think it's going to be that much. You don't need to spend that much.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? Needs 100 grand.
Yeah. It doesn't need 100 grand. You want to spend 100 grand on it.
Yeah.
So an interesting one though. I'm looking forward to the first viewings today. See how we get on. Should be interesting. Should be good fun. I'll give you an update next Friday on episode 13.
Episode 13.
Are we going to skip episode 13 because it's bad luck?
No, let's keep it. Hopefully not bad luck for your offer.
We could do a specific bad luck episode. What's the worst? What's the most unluckiest you've been in your life?
Yeah, unlucky agency stories.
Yeah, cool.
Right, we're already past half an hour, so
I know. Should we move?
I know you're not going to want to skip what you've been watching, so let's do that.
No, should we do that straight in then?
What you got?
Mate, mine is sick.
Tell me about it.
Okay, cool. So again, right to the last minute, every episode I have to mention mountain biking.
Here we go.
Okay, cool. So there's so many different aspects to mountain biking. You've got enduro racing, you've got downhill, which is what I like and what I do, straight down a mountain. But it's very difficult for someone who doesn't ride bikes or to watch downhill racing, understand it. If you see a 15-foot drop off a cliff into a jump, it's very difficult to get perspective. But one of the most interesting aspects of mountain biking is downhill urban racing.
Okay.
Okay, so street racing on bikes. Because everyone can gauge a step, everyone can gauge a curb, everyone can understand racing around a corner with no, berms there or anything. You can see that. Last weekend was one of the biggest street races of the year. It is in Valparaiso in Chile. It's a downhill race. It's cool. Like, they go through houses. Like, there's a house where they actually ride through the house and jump off the other side of it. It's sick. I want to show you the end of the winning run. Full disclosure here, if anyone watches downhill mountain biking, hasn't seen this, we're going to tell you the winner now, so don't watch it if you've not seen it.
So should we put it on the screen?
I'll put the link and put it on the screen now.
That looks like great fun.
Oh, mate.
It's like, I don't know if I could do the 15-foot drops, but I'd give that a go all day long.
That would be so scary. I couldn't even do that. These are the best riders in the world doing this.
That's really cool.
The story behind the win is why it's such big. Thomas Slavic is a out and out like street race specialist, and he crashed in practice and absolutely smashed his ankle to pieces. Ambulance to hospital, couldn't walk. And then pulled out the run of his life to win his third street race.
Nice.
Incredible. It such a good event. And it bridges the gap because the World Cup season doesn't start for a few months, the downhill World Cup season, because it's obviously like you ski in the winter and then you mountain bike in the summer. It's the same tracks that you go skiing on, like the big ski resorts.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like Val d'Isère, obviously a massive ski resort. In the summer, it's a massive mountain biking resort. And all the downhill World Cups are places like that.
Cool. I love seeing videos like that, and that's a whole world that exists.
That you don't
the
even
crowds turn up to watch that.
Yeah. I'm actually going mountain biking tomorrow in Gloucester with my brother and dad at a bike park, so I'll tell you all about that next week.
Nice.
But yeah, that's my what you've been watching.
So what you've been watching, have you seen the South Park clip with Harry and Meghan?
Yes, I have.
Yeah,
I have.
Put it on
and
the
it's
screen now.
fucking brilliant.
You've lived a life with the royal family, you've had everything handed to you, but you say your life has been hard, and now you've written all about it in your new book, Where? Yes, that's right, friend. You see, my wife and I are totally like, you should write a book because your family like stupid, and then so are like journalists. So you hate journalists. That's right. And now you wrote a book that reports on the lives of the royal family. Right. So you're a journalist.
I'm kind of tired of talking about them a little bit, but I just thought that was so funny.
Yeah, it was
so
brilliant.
funny.
It was brilliant. It was really funny.
Yeah, and that's all there is to say about it. Really, I found it really funny. I've heard that Harry and Meghan are suing them.
Really?
I haven't read into it properly, but I did see that in an article. I thought the best thing Harry and Meghan could possibly do with that coming out is to come out and laugh about it.
Yeah.
Imagine how that would change everything.
Yeah.
If Harry came out and goes, "Oh, I saw that. It was quite funny."
Yeah, it was really
wasn't
funny. Yeah.
Imagine how that just... Because they're like in this lane of like just being angry at everyone and everyone...
Just show a bit more human side.
Yeah,
Came out and said, look, obviously they've taken what we've said and made it into a laughable thing. They haven't quite got the points we're trying to put across, but I can see the comic value. It's great.
All
Fair
of a
play to
sudden,
them.
no one will be able to rinse them anymore.
Yeah.
They'll be like, "Oh, South Park did it. He took it on the chin. Move on."
Yeah.
But it's because they're so like just angry at
Yeah,
everyone.
I know.
It's that whole controlling people's speech thing again, isn't it? It's just... Anyway, I know we've done a lot of slagging off Harry and Meghan.
No, well, we haven't. We had an open debate on it, and we concurred that we didn't have a decision on it.
We want privacy.
Right, anyway, let's end on that.
Instagram loving bitch wife.
It's a good accent as well. You smashed it. You love a bit of South Park, do you?
I haven't seen much South Park, to be honest.
Cool. No, I remember watching it when I was younger, but no, I think my mum watched it as well. Like, as in, watched me watch it, and it was swearing in it, and I was like 10, and they were like, no.
Yeah, it's not okay.
Anyway, there we go. Cool.
Right.
Guys, thank you so much for watching, listening, contributing. If you've got any questions or want us to chat about any particular topics, like, just give us a shout. Just drop us a DM on one of our social media pages. You can contact us directly if you want to. If you know us, you can even just be weird and speak to us in person if you actually wanted to.
Yeah. Be like, I enjoyed the podcast. Why don't you talk about...
Yeah, give us a topic. We'd love your interaction. So, but no, either way, thank you so much for watching and listening and tuning in. This has been episode 12. Next Friday will be episode 13. Do you want to say bye, Matt?
Bye, Matt.
Okay, and bye, Ryan. Cheers, guys.